Hi Pisces, welcome to your April 2018 Astro Update. It's Rena here. So I think that for Pisces individuals, April is going to be somewhat of a practical month dealing with your money matters because you have like a new moon in Aries. Aries is your second house of earned income, and you have a new moon there. You have the sun going in there, and this can emphasize for you how you're spending money, how you're saving money, what you're doing, your interactions with money. And definitely it can be good for money because you've had Venus come through here recently, not right in this month, but you are going to be having a new moon on April 15th at 26 degrees of Aries. And so this could be new avenues to make money, new seeds being planted in some way. As the month begins, there's actually a Mercury retrograde that is currently underway in this house of the money that you earn. So you may already be having your mind, because Mercury is your thoughts about something or your communication about something. You may be already kind of rethinking something that relates to an income stream, or even, if it's connected to the job that you're doing right now, you may be crunching numbers and saying, I really want to leave my job, but how can I make it happen? How can I pay the bills? And just really kind of kicking it over in your mind. There can be, when there's a Mercury retrograde in a money house like this, there might be some kind of a brief slowdown because things will be more on review. And who knows, maybe you're in the midst of a salary renegotiation or something along those lines. And so you haven't heard the decision yet about whether or not you're going to get a raise. And these are just like a few examples. But remember that if you feel like something isn't flowing as much as it usually is, that it's just temporary. I find that astrological readings, whether, on YouTube or privately, can be, or knowing how to do it yourself, can be great ways to kind of make sense of some of the cycles that we go through without thinking, oh my gosh, the end is near. You know what I mean? So when you know that it's just a brief cycle of a few weeks, you kind of like let go of resistance, because, a lot of fear is that, that tensing up is resisting whatever is. And if it is that you are trying to make more money at your job and you're getting, you ask for a raise and you're waiting to hear back and it's making you nervous, that you don't think that whatever happens is the end of the world, because you know that things will resolve themselves when Mercury goes direct. The very interesting thing about this particular Mercury retrograde is that it goes direct on April 15th, which is the same day as that new moon in Aries. So it's almost like the universe is saying you're going to be rethinking something, and then it's like full steam ahead. And definitely with Aries, we're talking about a very take charge kind of sign as it is. So for over half of the month, you have the sun in Taurus, your second house, and this is giving you creativity and a sense of positivity about your finances. And on the 19th, the sun goes into your third house of communication. So you may be feeling more talkative, more social. And Venus is in that third house for most of the month until the 24th. So with Venus in the third house, you could meet love. You could meet like a potential love partner online. Third house can be the internet, or through brothers, brothers and sisters in your local area. These are all third house matters. Now, the Mercury retrograde is a time when people sometimes hear from those from the past. So maybe you hear from an old sweetheart, or maybe through your brothers and sisters, one of their friends, they're like, oh, do you remember so-and-so? And they were, my friend's brother. Well, they always had a crush on you. And so they want to know if they can call you or they can, email you. Just something like that could happen. And then Venus goes into that fourth house, which is Gemini for Pisces individuals. And Venus in the fourth house can be great for people that are looking to benefit in some way from real estate. The fourth house is a house of home and family, but it can deal with actual housing issues. So if you were trying to sell your house, you may get an offer or even actually get the proceeds from the house at this time. And it can simply be that you are redecorating your home, making it more beautiful. Venus is all about that. And there's like harmony in your household. In astrology, I think of like the Four of Wands. In the tarot, I think of the Four of Wands. Just like a happy home life. So, yeah. One thing of note to discuss with you, Pisces, is that you have two heavy hitters in your 11th house of hopes and wishes, which is called it's called the luckiest house, the 11th house. It's your long-term goals. It's also your friendships. So Saturn in Capricorn, this is a recent beginning of that transit back in December. And Pluto just celebrated 10 years of being in Capricorn in January. So it's still in that sector. And it will be in Capricorn until 2023. So that's a long time. But anyway, this could be a situation where you have been really dealing with what your ultimate goals are. Pluto tends to transform completely what a person's, ideas are. And so maybe you had it stuck in your mind that you were going to have a certain type of, game plan for your life. And now everything has totally changed and you're going in a completely different direction. Maybe a lot of people that know you are like, what happened to this person? Because they're just like on a totally different track. And that doesn't mean anything bad at all. It just means that Pluto has that ability to, give you totally different dreams. And when you couple it with the Saturn retrograde or just Saturn being in the same house, there could be something around your social circle where with Pluto retrograde, it's confronting your shadow. So your shadow, in part, may revolve around other people because Pisces is a very sociable type of an individual, and they tend to like to be around others. There's always that sense of the Pisces as a chameleon, and they really are influenced by other people. But some of you who are trying to change your lives may find that, and especially when we're talking about with the 11th house and Saturn there, and you really want to make those dreams come true, you may be reassessing some of these people, and the shadow may come up that you're being influenced by people that don't have your best interests at heart. And so it can be a very revealing time in the next several months when Pluto shows this to you, and you may be weeding out some of those relationships because Saturn is really good at that, at paring things down. So we could say that Pluto retrograde is pulling back the curtain and forcing you to see what may be destructive. And it could be that you're surrounding yourself with people who are negative and who are telling you that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and kind of demoralizing you. And so you may be thinking, well, how can I break away from these people? Because naturally your Piscean sympathy kicks in. And so that might be kind of some of the themes that play out in the next several months. But that's going on for you in that 11th house. And let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. You're having a full moon on April 29th. And this is at 9 degrees of Scorpio. So fellow water sign. Now, one thing that I didn't write down here that I should have is that with Jupiter in, Jupiter is in Scorpio. It's also in that 9th house. So you have this full moon here, and Jupiter is retrograde. Is retrograding right now, and it's Jupiter retrograding in your 9th house is giving you perhaps some opportunities to take advantage of, something that maybe you didn't want to do prior to this, or it just kind of escaped you. And this may involve studying at a university. It may involve any kind of like teacher training for yoga. I'm just using that as an example because this is the God house. So it could be a multitude of things, but it can be perhaps any travel plans that you had. This may be a time up until July with Jupiter in this house retrograding that you may get a second chance to do some of those things. But with the full moon here, it can be some kind of a culmination that relates to perhaps a degree that you are getting. Maybe you're ending your college courses, and Jupiter retrograde could be that, you may be thinking about grad school. Maybe this is an undergraduate thing that you're ending. And so at the end of April, which is really kind of following the timeline sometimes of university, you may be wrapping things up. Maybe you're coming back from a trip overseas. Maybe you're finalizing a trip overseas that you're going to be taking. Because when Jupiter's in the 9th house, it can really open you up for multiple experiences of travel and all the expansion that the 9th house is. This is a lucky time for Pisces because Jupiter is in the house that it rules. So it's wonderful in that sense. There's like that heightened Sagittarius effect. So, I think I'll leave it there, Pisces. That's good enough. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Take care. Bye.